If you're used to huge, explosive plays down the field when you watch Ohio State football, this win over Indiana was a little bit different for you.
From LA to Piscataway, all Big Ten all year long. This is Big Ten 10.
I've said it time and time again on this channel. Ohio State lives and they make their money off of those big, explosive plays over the top with those great wide receivers that they've had over the years and the great quarterbacks that they've had over the years. At least in game number one, things were just a little bit different. Things were more methodical on offense for Ohio State, right? This was a team that ran the football a little bit more, kind of taking a little bit of the pressure off of Kyle McCord. Devin Brown only really played one series in this game. It really looks like Ryan Day is investing in Kyle McCord. And as this game kind of went on, you saw Kyle McCord get a little bit more comfortable, make better throws. There still is a way to go, right? You're used to guys like the JT Barretts, the Dwayne Haskins, the Justin Fields, the CJ Strouds. If you're used to guys like that, Kyle McCord's got a long way to go before they really get to that point. Now, I am going to get into Ohio State in a majority of this video, but I really want to give a lot of credit to Indiana. Okay, that defense, especially against the pass, was dead last in the Big Ten. It was very bad last season, and what they were able to do in defending Ohio State, they gotta give a lot of credit in this one, because even though Cade Stover and Julian Fleming kind of broke through, and those were the leading guys in the pass game, Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka were held in check, and you have to give a ton of credit to Indiana and what they were able to do, keeping them at bay. Now, there's multiple factors, I think, that go into that. Maybe running the football a little bit more. Of course, you got a first-time starting quarterback back there in Kyle McCord, but be able to keep probably the two best wide receivers in the country at bay like that, boy, that is a big improvement for Indiana on the defensive side of the football. Aaron Casey and Andre Carter, keep those two names in mind. In the front seven, they lived in the backfield, right? They were in the backfield a lot. Now, there's a couple of different ways we can kind of go about that. Indiana's going to have some much better players, and they're going to have good players to really watch out for in the front seven that can wreak havoc behind the line of scrimmage. And then Ohio State, of course, losing those two great tackles. What are they looking at kind of on that offensive line? We knew that it wasn't going to quite be. We knew that was a question coming into this season. And I think the question is still kind of out there on that offensive line for Ohio State. We mentioned how the Buckeyes kind of got started in this game running the football, and you had a three-headed monster in the backfield. Travion Henderson, you had Chip Trainum, and of course Mayan Williams, kind of that short yardage down by the goal line guy was kind of his role in this game as he was able to punch it in for a couple of touchdowns. Boy, you've got a really good run game, and this offense was a lot more methodical, right? And the question is why? I think that's what I want to know. I want to know why. Was it early in this game? Were they trying to take more pressure off of Kyle McCord? Because once the game kind of went on, once you got into the third quarter and the fourth quarter, and they were kind of up by a couple of scores, you saw Kyle McCord maybe throw it a little bit more, maybe take some more chances Ryan Day and Brian Hartline did in this pass game. So that's something to keep an eye on, the trust factor. I think early in this game, they wanted to establish something and then maybe open it up just a little bit more. It seems like that happened. And as this game went on, I think Kyle McCord got better throwing the football. Look, if you're thinking of the typical Ohio State quarterback, the JT Barretts, the Dwayne Haskins, the Cardale Jones, the Justin Fields, the CJ Strouds of the world, Kyle McCord's got a long way to go, it looks like, before he gets to that point. Of course, everybody in Buckeye land is working towards that Notre Dame game. They got to get their offense right by the time they face the Irish in late September. Can Kyle McCord get to that point that maybe we talked about some of these other quarterbacks by the end of September? Like I said, I think there's still a long way to go in terms of this offense. But let's talk about this run game, because we know what Travion Henderson can do. We know what Mayan Williams can do. We saw Chip Trainum a little bit last year. I think Ohio State really proved in this game that they have three running backs that can carry the load. It was fairly balanced in kind of who got the carries at certain points in this game. And this is something we know Ohio State loves to throw the football around, and they might still do that as the season goes along. But I think what maybe this game showed me is that they're more willing to be methodical. They're more willing to be physical on the ground as well. Now, you go back to last season, they had a tough, methodical, kind of more physical game against Notre Dame kind of earlier in the season. So we'll see how things progress kind of going forward. Now, you kind of look to the other side of the coin. I think Ohio State, it's kind of harsh to judge them defensively because Indiana had absolutely zero pass game. This was an option offense when Taven Jackson was in at quarterback. It doesn't look like they trusted him. We talk about the trust on the other side. Boy, Indiana really didn't trust Taven Jackson throwing the football down the field. Brendan Sorsby kind of came in and he put it in the air a couple more times later on in the football game, but it made things, I think, easy for Ohio State defensively because there wasn't as once we kind of got past the first quarter into the second quarter, I think if Jim Knowles and this whole defense found out, okay, yeah, they're not going to throw the ball, even though they do have decent weapons on the outside, right? Your Cam Camper, your E.J. Williams, your Donovan McCulley, guys like that, your DeKeith Carter, Jalen Lucas, right? All kinds of guys like that. Even though they have those weapons, they just don't have a quarterback that can get it to them. And I think that's going to be an issue for Indiana really as this season goes along. But this is a test, I think, early on for Ohio State, where you're not going to blow them out of the water right out of the gate. And I think Indiana proved to a lot of people that this might be a team that might be able to hang around in some of these games, the way they played against Ohio State. But maybe as more time goes by, the Buckeyes will continue to get better. I'm curious to think if certain teams in the Big Ten are going to take what Indiana did and take that blueprint in terms of getting into the backfield, the Andre Carters, the Aaron Casey's, getting into the backfield and how they played against Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka. Are they going to take that blueprint and try to use that to game plan against Ohio State in the future? If I'm an Ohio State fan right now, I'm not loving this. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not a super big fan of this, okay? But I can take solace in the fact that we can be a physical team. We can run the football. But it doesn't thrill me that when you combine Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka and you don't get over the 50 and 60-yard mark, that's not thrilling right out of the gate in week number one. I want to hear what you guys think of this game. Indiana playing with Ohio State in a lot of this football game. Where do the Buckeyes go from here?
Thanks for watching Big Ten Ted, where it's all Big Ten all year long. Make sure to like the video to spread the word of Big Ten Ted to the masses, and subscribe to the channel for updates on Big Ten content that drops every day.